Hi, thank you for watching Digging to China. I'm Dong Xiong. If you have not done so already, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. The announcement of China's national college entrance examination scores and the allocation of the admission quotas for universities across different regions has ignited lively debates among netizens on social media platforms. Of particular interest is the relatively low demand for enrollment in military academies, which has garnered significant attention and prompted widespread discussions. Based on the recently announced admission scores for military academies, the admission scores for the Northwestern branch of the National University of Defense Technology have decreased compared to the previous year. Despite the considerable reduction in admission scores across military academies, there is still a shortage of students in the initial round of admissions in several provinces, including the renowned National University of Defense Technology, often referred to as the Tsinghua University of the Military. Which university in the country provides free meals for students? Military academies. Which university offers free clothing to students? Military academies. Which university provides free tuition and monthly allowances? Military academies. Which university reimburses the cost of the round-trip tickets during winter and summer vacations? Military academies. Which university guarantees job placement after graduation? Once again, it's the military academies. You might think that getting admitted to a military academy is fantastic, right? However, the recruitment of military academies has encountered difficulties in 2020 and 2021 and 2022. What could be the reasons behind this? There are some who argue that this is due to new regulations introduced by the United States which prohibit individuals who have studied at Chinese military academies from pursuing further education in the US. While this may be a contributing factor, it is unlikely to be the primary reason. The number of students from military academies who actually pursue overseas studies is relatively small. Even among students from prestigious universities like Peking University and Tsinghua University, the percentage of those opting for international study is limited. The majority of students choose to remain in China, and many may never have the opportunity to study abroad, especially those enrolled in military academies. Therefore, this is just one of the reasons. I believe there are several other more significant factors at play. Firstly, as mentioned earlier, children from wealthy families used to have the option to apply for military academies or defense-related schools. Graduating from these institutions offered a unique and a potentially advantageous career path. Alternatively, they could choose to study abroad if they didn't wish to pursue a military career. These institutions are well regarded in terms of academic quality, and the admission scores for certain majors can even surpass those of prestigious universities like Tsinghua and Peking University. For example, the Harbin Institute of Technology is an outstanding school in the field of science and engineering, and certain majors at the National University of Defense Technology have a strong reputation. However, with the United States imposing visa restrictions on students from these institutions, many children from affluent families are no longer considering military academies as they may have plans to study abroad after completing their undergraduate studies. The second reason is the issue of physical fitness, which may not have been considered by many. Numerous Chinese students who apply to military academies fail to meet the required physical fitness standards. These academies conduct medical examinations and physical fitness tests as part of the application process. In China, although many students excel academically, they often neglect physical exercise, and a significant number of young people start wearing glasses at an early age. In contrast, the United States values participation in sports teams and emphasizes physical exercise in schools. Compared to young people from other Asian countries, many Chinese students exhibit poor physical fitness, often characterized by being overweight, relatively tall but lacking strength in their legs, resulting in an unsteady walking posture and less agility. Overall, the physical fitness of Chinese youth is generally subpar, and as military academies consider both academic performance and basic physical fitness for admission, many students fail to meet the required standards. Thirdly, it is widely recognized the fact that China may potentially engage in military conflicts in the future. The possibility of a conflict with Taiwan exists, and in such a scenario, China will not only be facing Taiwan alone. Australia, Japan, the United States, and possibly other countries could be involved. Given this situation, who would be willing to send their children to the battlefield? I believe that the chances of China winning a war are diminishing. One reason is the weakness of China's economic foundation. It is interesting that while many foreigners perceive China's economy as strong, the Chinese people themselves, especially those residing in China, know that the economy is not as robust as it seems. Another reason is the expectation of the CCP for the current generation who would serve in the military to consist of highly skilled and fiercely committed soldiers. However, today's youth, particularly those from urban backgrounds, are predominantly the only child. It is not to say that only child are incapable of fighting. There are individuals who are passionate and willing to sacrifice themselves for the country, aspiring to become war heroes. However, such individuals are in the minority, and the combat effectiveness of Chinese soldiers would be significantly compromised. While mainland Chinese may mock Taiwan's soldiers as strawberry soldiers, it is evident that the quality of soldiers within the Chinese Communist Party is far from impressive. Based on my knowledge, the majority of recruits for the Chinese Communist Party's military come from urban areas, although there are also recruits from rural areas. The CCP focuses on recruiting soldiers from urban areas to improve the overall quality of the military. It has been only a few years since China eased its family planning policy, resulting in a significant number of individuals being only children. It is unreasonable to expect these only children to sacrifice their lives on the battlefield. Chinese people are well aware that the CCP places less emphasis on human rights and is willing to sacrifice lives in times of war. Who would be willing to risk their only child becoming cannon fodder? Military academies also confronts this dilemma, as enrollment in these institutions implies military status, potentially leading to direct military service upon graduation. This raises concern for parents, particularly considering the possibility of Xi Jinping impulsively taking action against Taiwan, thereby antagonizing the international community. Consequently, military academies have encountered difficulties in recruiting students in recent years. Despite offering various incentives such as tuition waivers and student stipends, urban families remain hesitant to allow their children to apply to these schools. The inherent risks involved, including the prospect of graduates becoming cannon fodder on a battlefield, make it an undesirable choice. Who would willingly subject their only child to such a fate? Who aspires to bear the title of a revolutionary martyr? Three factors come together: the prohibition by developed countries on Chinese military academy students studying abroad and obtaining visas, inadequate physical fitness, and a reluctance to become cannon fodder. When these factors combine, it becomes apparent that the military academies struggle to attract enough students. There is also an intriguing phenomenon. In previous years, many people in China were belligerent, expressing a desire to reclaim Taiwan or confront Japan. However, there has been a shift in sentiment in recent years, with people becoming less willing to engage in warfare. Why is this? The answer is rather straightforward. Despite China's consistent portrayal of the Russian-Ukraine war, the exposure to war videos has awakened Chinese individuals to the harsh reality of war. China's last major war was with Vietnam, which occurred 40 years ago. Few people remember the horrors of that war or truly understand its brutality. While there have been glimpses of war scenes in countries like Syria, there has been a lack of sustained long-term exposure to war. Many of these conflicts have been small-scale guerrilla warfare. In contrast, wars like the Gulf War has been overwhelmingly one-sided. The Russian-Ukraine war stands as the longest modern conventional war between two regular armies, characterized by prolonged and intense battles. Such wars result in numerous and extremely brutal consequences. Consequently, there has been a shift in China's public sentiment towards war since the end of last year. Some argue that this change is influenced by a shift in the mindset of the Chinese Communist Party's leadership. However, I believe it is primarily because people have witnessed the true consequences of prolonged warfare and the fate of those involved. They have come to realize that the reality of war starkly contrasts with the romanticized notions as seen in the horrifying videos of missiles striking tanks. Given these circumstances, it is probable that the recruitment of China's so-called military academies will be discouraged. Is it likely that China will experience a wave of war enthusiasm in the future with the entire population eager for war? The chances are minimal. People have witnessed the brutality of war through the Russia-Ukraine war, and the Chinese families predominantly have only one child. I'm not optimistic about the CCP's capacity to initiate a war or its combat effectiveness to emerge victorious. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. Just click the subscription button right here. I'll see you again shortly. Until then, be well.